That's what the Pax Judaica will look like. It will be a trade network controlling all the resources of the Middle East and then shipping it off to the rest of the world. All right. Then you have data centers, okay? So Israel has the most data centers in the Middle East, and then Saudi Arabia has 36. UAE has 34, okay? So these three places are competing against each other for AI dominance. Why is AI important? Because it allows you to create a surveillance state. Surveillance is what you need for an empire, right? You need to control the population, all right? Now, the problem with Saudi Arabia and UAE is for them to build their data centers, they need to import foreign expertise. They themselves do not have the human capital to build these data centers and to run these data centers. On the other hand, Israel does, okay? Israel has the best universities in the Middle East. It has the best IT talent in the Middle East. It has the best human capital. Therefore, it makes perfect sense for Israel to just absorb the entire AI network of the Middle East and become the main epicenter of AI surveillance in the Middle East, okay? Which will become the backbone of Pax Judaica. One more. So what does Pax Judaica look like? It's really the India-Middle East trade corridor, okay? All right, so look at this map where for India to get to Europe, it has to go through Israel, okay? So this is what Pax Judaica will look like. Basically the IMAC trade corridor that will unite the South Asian continent with Europe, okay? But not only that, but the idea of this is also to connect to Africa, right? Because no other place is able to access Africa. Only Israel is. And not only that, but it's also able to access Ukraine and Russia. So the idea is to take Russian and Ukraine energy and food and then transport it into Africa. That's combining the world. Okay? So Israel, because of its location, can really be the epicenter of all global trade. All right. Now, let's look at Iran. So for the longest time, Iran did have lots of resources, oil resources, but the Americans put sanctions on these oil exports. This war has basically lifted all sanctions, okay? So the Iranian economy is now able to export its oil all across the world. So this is Trini Parsi, and he is probably America's foremost expert on Iran. And he talks to a lot of people. And what he's saying is basically, Iran now is able to produce oil, transport it across the world, and then get money for it, okay? So the conclusion he makes is this. Trump and Israel's war has ended up delivering Iran de facto sanctions relief. Before the war, Iran was cut off from the global economy. Because of this war, Iran now is becoming embedded into the global economy. It's the complete opposite of the intention of this war. And what this means is Iran is now less incentivized to end the war. Okay? The more this war keeps on going, the more Iran benefits economically. All right. So Iran, once this war ends, becomes the epicenter of two major trade networks. Okay, the first is something called the North-South Transport Corridor that links Russia, okay, and Iran together, okay? And this will then allow Russia to access India and Asia. and allow Iran to access Europe. Okay, so this is the north-south corridor that's controlled by Russia. But also, you have, of course, the Belt and Road Initiative. And guess what? Terrain is also at the epicenter of this trade network. Okay? So for China to access Europe, it has to go through Iran. For Europe to access China, it has to go through Terrain as well. Okay? So this is what the new world will look like after the war. You'll have two regional powers, Israel and Iran. And they will have their own independent trade networks, and they will have their own access to resources. So Israel will control the resources of the Middle East, and Iran will control the Strait of Hormuz, okay? And with the Strait of Hormuz, they can collect a toll, which will feed the economy. They will be helped by Russia and China, because it is in Russia and China's best interest to develop the infrastructure of Iran to facilitate global trade. Okay? But then you're like, wait a minute here, but Iran and Israel are enemies. Okay, so this is a misunderstanding. Ideologically, Iran and Israel are enemies. But I want to teach you three basic principles or rules of geopolitics, okay? And once you understand these rules, it'll be much easier for you to understand the new world that we're going into. The first is this: the strong respect each other and prey on the weak, okay? This makes sense, right? Why are the strong fighting each other? Wouldn't it be easier for them to leave each other alone and go pick on the weak? It benefits everyone, right? So in this situation, right, you have different countries. You have GCC, you have Israel, you have the United States, you have Iran. Okay? So you have these four different players in this war. Right now, it's essentially Israel, GCC, and US fighting against Iran. But if Iran proves it is strong, and Israel proves it's strong, and GCC proves it's weak, the US proves it's weak, guess what's going to happen? Israel and Iran are going to get together and say, screw these guys. Let's just work together, man. Okay, does that make sense? Even though in the beginning, it seems as though Israel, GCC, and the US are allies against Iran, ultimately, if Iran is able to prove it's strong, then Israel will abandon the GCC and the United States. And Israel will work with Iran to build a new order in the Middle East. Because that's the law of the jungle. Okay? That is what is in the best interest, according to game theory, for Israel. And the last thing to understand is the weak do not work well together. The weak must ally with the strong for protection, okay? So what this means is that GCC is weak. Right? So you look at Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain, Oman, Kuwait, Qatar, okay? So these are the 6 GCC countries. They're all weak. And you would think, you know what? If they were to combine their resources and fight together, they could probably beat Israel or probably beat Iran. The problem with this is weak players don't work well together. Okay? They're weak because they're stupid. And so what they do is, rather than seek to work together, what they do is they seek to ally with stronger forces, okay? So right now, they're all aligned with the United States and Israel, all right, against Iran. But as this war progresses and the US falls, then what will happen is that they must either choose Israel or Iran. And what's going to happen is that you might have some places, Qatar and Oman, who choose, you know what, screw this, we're going to join Iran. And you have Saudi Arabia and UAE who are like, okay, let's join Israel. Okay? But the GCC, regardless of what happens, will no longer be a major geopolitical factor in the Middle East anymore. a lot of them will be destroyed because of this war. All right? So according to game theory, this is what the world should look like after the war ends. But again, this is all theory. Okay? This is a class focused on intellectual speculation. It's meant to be fun. It's meant to make us more curious about the world. It's supposed to heighten our critical thinking skills. This is not meant to be prophecy, okay? I'm not saying this must happen. I'm saying this might happen for these reasons. And if they do happen if they do happen, then this provides us a good framework to understand our reasoning better, okay? If it doesn't work out this way, it's fine because we'll just go back and analyze what went wrong better, okay? What's really important is not to set a judgment. What's really important is keep our minds open and be open to the possibility of different outcomes. All right? Okay, any questions, guys?
If Israel really defeated America, what will...
No. I didn't say Israel will defeat America. I never said that. Okay?
Well, Israel might.
No. Let's be clear about language. I did not say Israel will fight America. What I said is Israel is auditioning to replace America. Israel is trying to prove to the global elite, I'm strong enough to replace America when America leaves the Middle East. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Let's be clear about language. Okay, yes?
What will Israel try to prove that it's stronger than America? And I'm curious what the next step Israel will take if it's trying to show that it's strong.
Okay. All right. So, look, Israel doesn't have to do anything different. Israel is determined to win this war, right? That's all it has to do. Israel is determined to win this war, and the United States is not determined to win this war. The United States doesn't even know what it's doing, okay? All right, so what's important, okay? What's really important is to go back to our analysis of, this is, all right. Okay, let's to our analysis, okay? Remember, you need an empire. You need an empire, okay? Then you have the finance, the game masters. And then you have the global economy. Okay, all right. So these different players. And again, there's a really important idea to understand.